Saturday's 5-0 win over Aston Villa meant Manchester City went to the summit of the Premier League for the first time since winning the title back in May. Despite their domestic form, they've struggled in Europe, and even a win over Real Madrid in Manchester on Wednesday may not be enough to reach the Champions League knockout stage, adding further pressure on manager Roberto Mancini.
He's never had a good record. I think the furthest he's ever got is the quarter-finals. And he met with the new director of football, Barganese, after the Ajax draw and was essentially told, you've got to improve in Europe. City want global domination. They want to win the Champions League. And there are some questions over whether Mancini will ever do that. And with Pep Guardiola's shadow looming in the background, with the Spanish influence, with Barcelona influence, Mancini's under a bit of a pressure in Europe. So they may be out of the Champions League, all but out of the Champions League. But he's got to win. He's got to show that he's got the brains to outthink Mourinho and beat Real Madrid or Ajax and Borussia Dortmund. Because if he can't do that in the future, he'll be sacked.
Despite winning titles in Italy and England, doubts remain over Mancini's ability to manage on the European stage.
Even when he was at Inter, he did have these moments of self-doubt. I mean, he resigned after Inter went out to Liverpool in the Champions League a good 4 years ago, maybe now, and then he was convinced to stay on until the end of the season, and eventually he did leave at the end of the season, and that's when Jose Mourinho came in, and that was an example of Mancini kind of doubting whether he can just go, you know, to the very top level. Winning the league is one thing, but succeeding in the Champions League, you know, you need something extra, tactical qualities that maybe Mancini feels himself that he lacks.
Well, Mancini's got the season. He's not going to be sacked. He's just signed a 5-year contract in the summer. So we don't want to go too over the top about the pressure he's under. But he has been told he's got to improve in Europe because the Abu Dhabi owners didn't spend £1 billion plus. They're not building this training ground and academy and all the stuff they're doing to win the Premier League and go out of the Champions League in the group stages every year. They want global domination, European domination. They want to win the Champions League. They want to be the biggest and best club in Europe. So they need a manager that's going to do that for them and who's going to beat Real Madrids and the Barcelonas of this world. And Mancini's never shown, he's never even shown a sign that he can do it. City could well win the Premier League and they could well go out of the Champions League in the group stage. And that will leave the owners with a big question. And not just the owners, also Ferran Soriano, the new chief executive, and Barganese, the director of football. Because next summer, Pep Guardiola is going to be available. And Pep Guardiola almost embodies what Manchester City want to do with the club, what the owners want to do with the club. And Mancini's got this long contract and he's doing fine domestically, but they're big thinkers. They're big thinkers, the owners. And yeah, he'd be under pressure. So that's why it's so important that Mancini shows what he's capable of in the last 2 games against Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund, even if it means Man City still go out in the first stage.